Hey, 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 friends. It's Tuesday, so I'm coming to you live with my 2 cents. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this with these two devices, but I think that on Facebook, I'm just gonna have to be a little bit off-centered, so I apologize. I've got my computer here, my iPad, and then I've got my phone because I just have a couple of notes that I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget to tell you about. So today I want to tell you guys about habit stacking. Okay, habit stacking is game changer. If you have ever heard the statistic that it takes 21 days to make a habit, drop a 21 in the comments. Okay, even if you're watching the replay, the recording, anything like that, if you've ever heard that, I want you to drop 21 in the comments. Hey, Gail, I'm just messaging you on my phone. Thanks for hopping on. And Rhonda, I love your makeup that you did the other day. It was beautiful. And I can see it in your profile picture. That's what reminded me of it. So good evening, you guys. But, I always believed that it took 21 days to build a habit. And so I would create all these trackers and I would say, okay, I'm going to do it every day for 21 days. And you know what happened at the end of 21 days? I did not have a habit. Like I was like, woo, I got a habit. And then, a week later, all of a sudden it's gone. Okay. So I don't know who made that up. It's totally made up. Like that's what's coming out now in the works is, that it just doesn't work like that. And what happens, in order for you to get a habit, you obviously just have to do it every single day. And so let me grab my notes right here. There was a study done and it said that adults had 41% fewer neurons than babies. And so they were like, well, if this is true, why are babies not smarter than adults? Okay, well, the truth is here are all these neurons that these babies have, but they're not connected to anything, right? And then as we learn and as we grow, there's a phenomenon that's called synaptic pruning. And so basically that means if you don't use it, you lose it. And there are two ways that this works, okay? So the first way that it works is that you develop a skill, you practice something over and over and over and over and over again until you become good at it, that you no longer have to think about it anymore. Okay, so let's just think about some of these things. Like, let's just think about like driving a car. Okay, remember the first time you drove a car, you were like hands at 10 and 2, you're like looking all around, no distractions, radio's down, right? You're doing all of the things to make sure that you're being a safe driver as you're first learning it. And then now we're like driving with our knee if you're a mom while you're eating something, on our phone with the other one. Guilty. Like, have you ever like just driven to a place and all of a sudden you're there, but like you're like, ah, shoot, did I run a red light somewhere in there? Like I wasn't even paying attention. Okay. And so in those cases, like doing those things like brushing your teeth, maybe cooking something, or like waking up in the morning and getting your morning routine, like you really don't even have to think about those things anymore just because you've done them for so long, right? And so what that does in your brain is you no longer need to use those because it's just so normal for you that they can kind of go away. And then on the flip side of that, let's talk about playing the piano. If you have never learned the skill to read musical notes, then it's gone, right? And you know that like it was a lot easier to learn an instrument when you were younger than it is when you're older, even like a new language, right? Because even the way that we talk or the way that we form words or say sounds, it's harder because we've made a habit of those now that we're older, that it's hard to change when those neurons have been connected with something and already been made a habit. Okay. And so, like I said, two ways to do the synaptic pruning. Either you're using it so often that you no longer need to think about it, or you're not using it at all. And so your brain's just like, okay, you don't need this. Like, let's go ahead and let it go. And this is, I wrote it down, a biological change that leads to skill development. Okay. So this is going to help you better foster your skills. And so basically connections that aren't strengthened are going to go away. And so your brain is going to build a strong connection with and support the things that you currently do on a daily basis. So I see Rachel here, Becky, thanks for hopping on. So I just want to know from you guys is, what are some things, drop them in the comments, even if we're watching the recording, like do this activity with me. What are some things that you do on a daily basis that you don't even have to think about? You know, we talked about driving, we talked about getting ready for the day. Can you think about like a couple other things? For me, like I don't have to think about getting dressed. Obviously, I don't have to think about like breathing or swallowing. Getting my kids breakfast in the morning is pretty natural. Waking up, wanting to go work out is pretty natural for me. Doing my daily method of operations with my business, that comes pretty easily now. I want to hear some things from you guys. Now, of your daily habits. Okay, so those things you do on a daily basis are like part of your routine. So I want you to think about your daily habits. Are they good or are they bad? Okay, so those other things. So for me, sometimes I go the whole like morning and afternoon without eating because I'm very, very busy. Okay, and I'm just like not feeling hungry, or I don't like, nothing sounds good. I don't want to go cook something, right? And so there's a habit that I do quite often where I go the whole, I'm working out. I'm not drinking a lot of water. That's another bad habit. And, all of a sudden it's 2 or 3 o'clock and I haven't eaten anything all day. Okay. So there's a habit in which I would need to change. Okay. Maybe you are a smoker and you want to quit smoking. Okay. And there are habits that are associated with that maybe we can work on changing if that's something you want to get rid of. What are some bad habits? Do you guys have some? I'm trying to think what else for me. I am on my phone a lot. I'd like to be off of it a little bit more, but I just love what I do. So it's like very addicting. So that would be a habit that I could change. My good habits is working out. Okay. So I'm just going through this. And if you really wanted to make a change in your life or in your business, you should really get a piece of paper out and you should write, what do I do on a daily basis? What are my good habits? What are my not so good habits? Okay. So that is homework assignment number 1. Then when you want to build new habits, okay, so you've got these good habits, you've got these bad habits, you've got these existing habits. So when you want to build new habits, you want to make sure that you use the connectedness of behavior to your advantage. So what that means is you want to make sure that you connect a new habit with something that already comes very easily, very naturally to you. And you're going to use the habit stacking formula. Now, this came from, who was it? Let me make sure I give credit where credit is due. B.J. Fogg as part of his Tiny Habits program. And so he said the habit stacking formula is after or before, fill in the blank, my current habit, I will blank my new habit. Okay. Now I want to add something instead of just after and before. I actually want to add while as well. So it could be after this, before this, or while this, I will new habit. Okay. So some examples of this. Let me just read them so I don't forget. After I pour my cup of coffee each morning, I will meditate for 1 minute. Okay, so maybe you need to work on being still, maybe you need to work on some gratitudes or just like some meditations and visualization. So after you pour your cup of coffee in the morning, okay, it's too hot to drink. I don't drink coffee, but that stuff is hot. Okay, you're going to just spend a minute to meditate. And that may be something that doesn't come naturally to you, but your coffee does. And so now all of a sudden you can have that minute of stillness in your day without having to be like, oh crap, I forgot, because you've embedded it into a routine that you already have. Okay. How about while drinking my coffee, I will say gratitude. I will listen to an audiobook. I will take 10 deep breaths. Okay, whatever you need to do. Before I pour my cup of coffee or while my coffee is brewing or something like that, maybe you're like, I'll do some morning stretches. I'll do 10 push-ups, right? I'll drink a cup of water, whatever new habit that you need that's going to help you be more successful. Okay. Like how cool is that? That's going to be so easy. Okay. After I take off my work shoes, I will immediately change into my workout clothes. Okay. And so here's another opportunity where it's like, I'm going to just make a new habit where I get home from work, I take off my work shoes And then maybe you have your workout clothes laid out on the bed or right where you're going to put your shoes there, right? And you're setting yourself up for success. After I sit down to dinner, I will say one thing I'm grateful for that happened today. So before I take a bite of food, I will make sure to say some gratitude. While I am eating, I will look around the room and I will see 5 things that I'm grateful for. Okay, so you can see that just by incorporating stuff that you already do, you can bring better and more goodness into your life. I love this. Okay, and so a couple of things to think about is so finding the right trigger. Okay, so we all do this every single morning. Alarm goes off, you have to wake up. Okay, is there anything that you need to do before you wake up? And this is something that I've started to do is before I even open my eyes to look at what time it is or look at my phone, okay, I recognize while I'm laying in bed that I'm awake. And then the first thing I do is I name off 10 things that I'm grateful for that happened from the day before. And then I name off at least 10 things that I am going to call into my space and be grateful for that's going to happen for me that day. Okay, so before I even open my eyes, I recognize that I'm awake and I'm like, okay, let me reflect on yesterday. All right. I'm so grateful for all these things. Okay, let me reflect on today. Here's what I'm going to be doing during the day. And here are the things that I'm so grateful for that are going to happen during those times that I'm doing those things. I love doing that. Okay, then I peek my eyes open and I look at the clock and it's always like 5:28 a.m. Like, why is it always so early? I don't know. Okay, and so then what do I do after that? This didn't come naturally to me, but I grab my phone. I don't even look at it. I don't want to see any notifications. I go into a special nook in our house. So I just created this spot that makes me excited to go to. And I have my personal development book sitting right there on the table for me where I left it the morning before. And I open it up and I start reading. And I just read until I feel like stopping. Okay. Sometimes it's a couple paragraphs. Sometimes it's a couple pages. Sometimes I'm like, my kids are coming down. I'm like, oh shoot, like that must've been good. Right. And so I'm reading my book as part of my morning routine. And so I'll usually read like, you know, if I'm out there by like 5:30 a.m., 5:45 a.m., then I'm going to read 15 to 30 minutes. Okay. And then the next thing I do as part of my habit stacking is then I will now pick up my phone and I will post an inspirational video. I'll post my gratitudes. I'll share something from my reading that I really enjoyed. Sometimes I'll go to YouTube. If I have a lot more time in the morning because maybe I didn't read as much or I woke up even earlier, I'll go to YouTube and I'll just like listen to like some different vibrations to raise my frequency. I know that sounds a little kooky, but like that makes a big deal to me to make sure that like I'm always radiating positive energy. I'll check in with my team, I'll lift them up, you know, and so then I'm like kind of doing like my phone stuff, okay, as I'm sitting there. Then the next thing I do is I go and get ready for my workout. Wake up my kids, either get them ready for school or their activities, and I go and work out. Okay, so like my morning routine used to be open my eyes, oh my gosh, it's another morning, here we go, right? Or like the kids are waking me up because I'm sleeping in. And so waking up is just part of what we all do, but now you get to decide how to habit stack some things on top of it. So I do my gratitudes, I read a book, and I do some meditation, and then I catch up on my phone work and stuff. Now, something that I do need to do better, I have to do this better, is drink more water. And so how can I habit stack what is already a routine, what I already don't have to think about, to help me incorporate a better habit? And what I could easily do is before I go to bed at night, I could fill up a glass of water and I could put it right next to my book. And then while I'm reading my book, I can drink my water. And I can say, as part of my habit stacking formula, while I'm reading my personal development, I will drink a glass of water. Boom. Now it becomes a little bit more of who you are. Like, how simple is that? After I get done with my morning routine, I will go into the bedroom and put on my workout clothes. And so just those things. So getting out of bed is something that you can easily habit stack. Taking a shower Oh gosh, you guys, you have time in the shower to do more than what you think, right? So is there something you need to be doing? Like maybe if you've got young kids, they're going to practice their times table facts or their spelling while they're in the shower. Maybe for you, you are going to listen to Rosetta Stone so that you can learn that new language every time you take a shower. All of us go to the bathroom every day, right? What are you doing while you're going to the bathroom? You could easily stretch, some arm stretches while you were sitting there, right? Maybe you need to stretch a little bit more. I'm trying to think without being like too specific. What would I do while I'm going to the bathroom? Okay, you could easily put a book in there. I know a lot of people put books in their bathroom, and you could have, you know, your 15 minutes of read time. Someone's knocking on the door. No, I'm going to the bathroom, you know, and you know you got your 15 minutes. Brushing your teeth. Okay, you brush your teeth or you wash your face, you know, could you tell yourself 5 compliments? Could you look at yourself and tell yourself, I'm beautiful, I love you, you know, those kinds of things that we need to do. Do you drink coffee every day? So brewing your coffee, that's something that is going to be very routine for you. Eating breakfast, taking the kids to school, starting your workday, eating lunch. One thing that I've habit stacked is whenever I eat, I post it on my stories. Why? Because people just want to know what I'm eating, but also, you know, sometimes I'm eating healthy, sometimes I'm not, but I like to share a little bit of both with you. And then when I am eating healthy, I like to tell you what it is. That way you can make it too, because you know, it's going to be a super simple recipe because I don't do complicated. Sitting down for dinner, turning off the lights, getting into bed. A couple of things that you could habit stack is in the morning when you make your bed, putting a book on your pillow. So that way it's there for you when you are, you know, taking down the covers to get into it. Same thing, like I said, before I go to bed at night, I could put a glass of water out where I'm going to be in the morning. So that way it's there for me. And so a way that you can habit stack to set yourself up for success, you know, during your nighttime routine to help with your morning, or during your morning routine to help with your nighttime one. Okay. How about every time you get a text message? Okay. Are you conditioned to pick it up every single time? Or maybe every time before you get a text message, you are going to say something to yourself. Or maybe every time before you get a text message, you have to do 5 jumping jacks, right? To be able to open it up. There are lots of fun things that you can do with that. Okay. So lots and lots of information that you can get when it comes to habit stacking. But I feel like it comes down to recognizing, what do you do on a daily basis without having to think about it? What are your good habits? What are your bad habits? And what are the new habits that you want to start incorporating? And a really important thing is that you need to make sure that it is specific. It can't be vague. So you're like, I'm going to read more. So when this happens, I'm going to read more. And like, you need to say how much you're going to read, or how long are you going to read? Or I want to eat better. Okay. What does that mean? Or I want to drink more water. What does that mean? You know, I can drink 8 ounces of water in the morning. Okay. So being very, very specific with that. The last thing I'm going to end with is this thought. And it says, habit stacking allows you to create a set of simple rules to guide your future behavior. And I think that this is really important. And in fact, I wrote it on the quote that is here. It says, watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And I think that that is so important and very interesting, because what you do on a daily basis is going to become habit. So be very aware of that, the things that you're saying, the way that you're feeling, the things that you're doing, because that's ultimately going to become your habit as you do them more and more often. Like I said, your brain's not going to have to think about it anymore, and it's just going to do it naturally. And when you develop those habits, it in turn becomes your character. It in turn becomes what you're known for. Okay. Are you always habitually late? Are you the kind of person who's always negative? Are you the kind of person who is dirty and unorganized, right? Are you the kind of person who is dependable? Are you the kind of person who is healthy and happy? And that all goes back to your habits, and your habits all go back to your actions. And so just be aware of that. If this was helpful for you, make sure that you share this with somebody else. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you click that subscribe button. I'm going to continue to do this every Tuesday, and we're going to grow this thing nice and big. I'm going to give you all my tips and tricks to unlocking positive change in your life. And so I'm excited to connect with you again soon. We'll see ya. Bye.